Well, of course, I pray for everybody, and I pray that God blesses all the people who watch these videos because I make them with true wisdom, and stuff like this has really changed people, and I always try to like gather warriors. But here we're gonna talk about Mongaku. Mongaku. Um, Great monk. I want to talk about how all ninja go to prison, and yeah, I would say for sure, I would imagine from what I've experienced in prison that you have to go to prison to be a ninja. And there's precedent for it. That means it happened before. In the movie American Ninja, the guy went to prison who was an American ninja who was taught by Japanese or Chinese people. But that's just a movie. So I know how that sounds. But we're gonna talk about a real monk who is definitely could easily be classified as a ninja. So we're gonna talk about Mongaku. His story starts, he's very religious. He goes and decides to say 21,000 Saint Michael Archangel prayers. In his religion, it was Fudo Mayo, a guy an angel with a sword and a rope that binds demons and casts demons into hell. But he said it under a horrible waterfall for 3 weeks straight, and it was winter, and it was really cold, and it was probably winter. And he tried it, and he would get through a few thousand prayers for a few days or something, and the waterfall would knock him unconscious from the cold and send him down the stream, and little kids would wake him up on the shore, and he would get mad at the little kids for interrupting him, but he would keep trying. Eventually, what was Fudomayo, he was affiliated with Buddhism, sent two little young men, little kids, heavenly children, to Mongaku, and they said that we're messengers from Fudomayo. He's observed your austerities, and he sent us to you to help you. And they laid their little hands on him, and it just filled him with incredible warmth. And he was able to go 3 weeks and say the 10,000 or 20,000 Saint Michael Archangel prayers under the waterfall the whole time after that. So that's his initial staging. That's pretty good. I would be really proud of that if I did that. Anyways, he eventually he was a wanderer. He came to this mountain place, an abandoned shrine that was all torn down, and there was monkeys everywhere and all sorts of animals. And he decided, it was on a mountaintop, to rebuild it and gather funds to rebuild it. And he made a vow to one day rebuild it. And he went to the capital, and he had a whole scroll written with a whole bunch of Buddhist theology, just basically Christian theology, just talking about heaven and hell, and how giving a little bit towards building up a church is worth more than you would ever think. And he interrupted the retired emperor's party with a bunch of merrymaking and just frivolity. And the emperor immediately, the retired emperor, the Ho-Oh, said, bind that madman. And Mongaku pulled out, he had a scroll that he wrote out a scroll, and read it out, and it looked like a little, it was pretty long, a few 8 inches to 10 inches to a foot long. But when they all tried to grab, pulled out a sword, tried to arrest him, he pulled out a knife, a big dirk with horsehair around the hilt, and it looked like he had 2 swords in his hands because of the scroll too. And all the noble people and like people like who have never like done anything dirty or anything, like total just court people who don't know anything about the real world, when they saw that, they just freaked out and it was a frenzy. And this one guy came up on Mongaku and he had like a ceremonial hat on, but he was a samurai too, and Mongaku just punched him in the face and knocked his hat off. And it was such a disgrace to have his hat knocked off that he didn't appear in court after for like a long time. And another guy, it started getting crazy. Another guy decided not to spill blood, a big samurai. He turned his sword backwards and hit him with the flat of the blade and knocked him down, and they wrestled, and eventually like he was captured and put into prison. But then it's famous, it doesn't happen in America, but it happens like in the ancient world when really good things happen, like really good things, like the birth of a new prince, a new king, like a new emperor, or like a victory in a whole war, or a time of peace, or like a great like surplus of food, or just something good. Like there's a general release of prisoners throughout the country or throughout the capital or whatever. Like that's common, that happens, and it's happened in America too. Back in Wayne County, they used to let people out like crazy, but he was let out. But he used to talk about like the degeneracy of the empire and the emperor, and he preached about how like it was just corrupt, and so they decided to exile him. And when they took him like about to get on his boat, they asked him like, do you have like anybody you want to ask for help from, like any funds or anything like that? And he said like, I have one person I can think of. And they said, okay, like tell us what you want to write down. And they gave him some paper. And it was really cheap paper, and he said, who can I write to with this? This is cheap paper. And they brought out some big, good, thick paper. And he said, like, I can't write or read, like, I need you to write it for me. And he said, like to you, like, who I've always known and had reliance on, like, I've come into trouble, like, I intend to build this mountain, this shrine on this mountain. And I've had a lot of trouble with the emperor because of the corruption, like, now I need your help more than anything. He's, like, signed, like, to Kwannon of Kiyomizu, and that's like a god, like Kwannon, like a female deity, really like seems very similar to Mary. And then they laughed at him, or they got mad, and they said like, who do you think we are, like, do you think this is some sort of joke? And he said like, no, like I've always had recourse to Kwannon of Kiyomizu, like, and now I have no one else on whom I can rely. And but I don't know, I don't think they sent it. But they took him on a boat, and he decided, like, if I'm never going to build that shrine on the mountaintop, then let me die of hunger. And he decided not to eat. And he went, like, 21 days throughout the whole ship ride. And during the ship ride, there was a big storm and thunder, and the ship was about to be, like, taken over from the storm and, like, the waves. And, like, Jesus, he came out and he, like, rebuked the devil, like the evil one of his religion, against his like quest to build this shrine on this mountaintop. And the waves and the wind stopped. And it says truly he was a remarkable man. He goes on, that's his main story. At one point there's this one kid who's like a total like victim, innocent, but he's like part of a family of that was like against the government, and they decided to kill him. But they were driving him and they didn't know whether to kill him. But the monk was supposed to come back with his pardon, but he was a little bit late, and they came out about to kill him. And then one guy was about to decapitate him, but he went blind. He couldn't see, and he dropped the sword, and he said, I couldn't see. And then it was a miracle by Kwannon or Mary, and Mongaku rode up just at that instant with the pardon for the kid. And yeah, that's Mongaku's story though, but he went to prison, so like, yeah. Just some ancient precedent. A good story about it's from the Tale of the Heike. The Tale of the Heike. Heike. Definitely a book every sage should know. Peace.